available in the LMS. We have shared the LMS details through email to those who have shared the payment proof through WhatsApp till yesterday. Those who have shared the details today will receive the LMS access mails later in the evening or by tomorrow. If you have trouble in attending the WebEx online session, you can join using the YouTube live link that I've put in the chat. I'll put it once again in the chat. Now, my name is Sujin Jacob George. I'm working as Global Relations Manager with IPSR Solutions Limited, and I will be the event moderator. Now, before we move on to today's session, if you all could please turn on your videos, we would like to take some screenshots for our documentation purpose. Yeah, thank you, everybody. You can turn off your videos. Now we'll move on to the FTP session, the topic of which is going to be architecture of OBE and design of outcomes. This is going to be taken by Dr. Sunil Job K.A. He's the Chief of Academic Solutions IPSR and is the Director, Educational Research and Development, Marian College, Kuttikkanam, Autonomous. Dr. Sunil Job has 30 plus years of experience in teaching and 10 plus years in corporate consultancy. He holds a PhD in mathematical education, and has been an associate professor at MT University College of Teacher Education from 1999. He has started his career as assistant professor at Carmela Rani Training College, Colum. He has served as visiting team member of NCT for grant of recognition and a resource person for the Affiliation Renewal Committee of MT University. He's an active blogger in cutting-edge technologies and IT, education and data science. Dr. Job has published many articles in national journals and authored many academic books and a reference manual in mathematics. He has served as resource person for a number of faculty development programs in outcome-based education, data science, e-learning, etc. Currently serving as Director, Education Research and Development, Marian College, Kuttikkanam Autonomous, and Chief of Academics, IPSR Solutions Limited. Over to you, sir. Are you speaking anything, sir? I can't seem to hear you. Is it only for me or for everyone? Yeah, no voice. Sunil sir, are you able to hear? I thought it was only for me.
Hello?
Yeah.
Is it audible now?
We can hear you. Yeah, now audible. Yes, please. Yeah. Did you turn off your video now?
Okay, let me turn. Okay, so is it okay now? I'm audible
Yeah.
as well
Now,
as
now yeah, video is on as well. Yeah. Proceed. Yeah.
okay, Sajid, thank you very much for a very beautiful introduction. And good evening all. Let me check how many participants have been here now. Yeah, it's a very good numbers there, more than 150 in the platform, and also many are viewing from the live streaming also. So now we are in the second day of a 1 week faculty development program, and I understand that yesterday you had a very beautiful section uh, in the uh, that is you had a very beautiful section by Dr. Mendes. He has given a very clear perspective on what is Bloom's taxonomy and how Bloom's taxonomy we will be functionally elevating your classroom interactions, as well as how Bloom's taxonomy will be helping you to chart out a very effective outcome-based education scenario. So we know that if you want to implement the outcome-based education in its best, definitely the Bloom's taxonomy will be leading you through. So definitely, last section was very effective for you to figure out how Bloom's taxonomy could be integrated into your teaching learning scenario. So today, as Sijin has already mentioned, that we'll be going through the architecture of outcome-based education. And definitely, it's true that outcome-based education is not something new to you, because we have been hearing about outcome-based education and also practicing about outcome-based education for the last few years. So, what my intent of this section is that to bring a little more clarity to the process of outcome-based education. Actually, what we could see or hear when we go through different colleges for mentoring, there are many questions which come forward asking that, so whether this is in tune with outcome-based education, also whether we will be able to do this practice in an outcome-based scenario. So whether this is an effective formative evaluation technique. Likewise, a number of questions has been we'll be getting. We used to get a number of questions in that way. So what I understand is that if the basement is clear, that is, suppose that if you have got a very good clarity regarding the concepts of outcome-based education, definitely then whatever you do will be outcome-based education. So my intention today in this section is to bring clarity to the process that you have been practicing for the last few years, to bring about what really outcome-based education mean, and what exactly should the practice be. So here you can judge by yourself without getting any assistance from outside regarding whether this practice is correct or not. What should I do at this junction like that? So for this, the most important thing is that bring clarity to these concepts. So today we'll be going through the outcome-based education in that perspective to bring clarity on what exactly outcome-based education means. So without much into an introduction, so let me go into the presentations. I've got a few slides to share with you. Let me share the screen first. Before that, I think there is some issues of net issues there. I'll keep my video closed so that could get a better bandwidth. Sijin,
Yeah.
is my screen okay and my voice is audible?
Yeah. Audible. Please
Okay,
proceed.
okay. If there is any issues, please ping me.
Yeah, I will stop in between.
Okay, you can reach me in my mobile also because I'm kept the chat off.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So here we go with the today's section. As I mentioned, we will be going through the outcome-based education from its initial phase. And what my intention, as I've already mentioned, is that I want to bring some clarity on what exactly outcome-based education means and what exactly we do in an outcome-based scenario. So when that is clear, definitely there is no need for you to go and ask someone that whether this practice is okay in the framework of outcome-based education. Why we are doing this? Does it fit into the scenario of an outcome-based education? All this could be answered when this concept is clear. And throughout this section, we'll be having about outcome-based education and how we can tailor the outcome-based education in an AI augmented way. That is something very, very important because now AI is becoming a lot of disruptions in the scenario of not only in the education, in every workspaces. So in an education, how AI could be ethically integrated and AI could be effectively integrated into the teaching learning process. How we can make AI a co-pilot in the teaching learning process while designing the outcome-based education. That will be the outcome of this FTP. So last day, as I've told that you've got a very wonderful section by Dr. Mendes regarding this Bloom's taxonomy, because that is something, the soul of any teaching learning process. Suppose if you want to figure out what exactly is happening in the teaching learning scenario, that is important. So you have pitched it in a very effective way in the last day. So today, what we are will be going through is that we'll be just making you reflect on what is the significance, why exactly we need outcome-based education, and what exactly outcome-based education, and what are the different components related to the outcome-based education, like PO, PSO. All these things will be made clear in this segment. So before going into an detailed section, I would like to ask you one question. This section will be, I would like to take it as a two-way section, two-way the section. In the sense, I want some feedbacks from you in between. So while we progress, I have kept my chat open so that when I post some questions, I want some responses from you so that I'll be able to steer our discussions in the right way that will be effective and beneficial for you. So what you are seeing in the screen is an it is something that I've taken from a higher educational journal. So what this showcases that this is the result of an experimental study. I repeat, this is the result of an experimental study which has been conducted in a professional college. So in that professional college, after completion of their program, after completion of their 4-year program, the students were put to a test. Put to the test in the sense this reflects the result of the students who have completed a 4-year degree, 4-year engineering program. This was a test which is conducted from an engineering college. This is the status of the students who have completed the engineering program. So here you can just go through this chart and see there are two axes is there. One is related to their exam result. X-axis is related to their exam result. That is whether they have passed the selected students from a college, whether they have passed the examination or not. And the experimental part is that these students are given an experimental, a controlled scenario. These students were given a controlled scenario where they are tested on how well they are able to perform these some task which is in a real workspace related to their area of study, how well they are able to perform. So this is the chart that depict these two things. One, their examination result, and the second one, how well they can present, how well they are able to complete a task which is related to their trade of study, their field of study. So my question is that what can you say about the exam result? I repeat, what can you say about the exam result? Is it a good result or not? So what is the percentage of pass? You can put it in chat. I want something to be an interactive. I want to take this as an interactive section. Please answer in the chat. I have kept the chat open. I was asking what percentage students passed. After completing the 4-year programs, these students, what percentage of the students were passed? It was not a good result, 7% passed. There was a confusion regarding 7%. Someone has, Shankar Kumar Das, has commented 91%. Dr. Vinaya Kumari has commented that 84% has passed. Most of them are telling that 7% has passed. 80%, this is something which is not there. 91%. Yeah. So there are some conflicting numbers are coming. So what is the pass percentage? You can just check it out here. In the x-axis, up to here, in the x-axis up to here is the percentage of students failed. And in the y-axis from here to here, that is the percentage of the students passed. So in this percentage, we find that there is an 84 is there, and in the top there is 7 is there. So together there is 91% of the students passed the examination. 91%, that is that which comes to the right of this line. 91% of the students have passed. So considering a professional program, regarding the pass percentage, that is a wonderful pass percentage. That is 91% of the students have completed their 4-year program without any supplementary paper. Back paper or arrears is something great. So result wise, it is good. But the entire students, both the pass and failed, were being given a test. The test in the sense they were asked to perform some activities or some task which is related to their area of study. When I say an area of study, definitely a professional program is preparing a students from a mere student to a professional who are capable to take any activities related to their workspace. So without giving any training, they are directly given some sorts of task which is related to the area of study for which they have been preparing for the entire 4 years. So that is what you can see here. From the failed students, none of them are able to perform. And from the past, that is from the right hand side, 7% was able to perform. So considering the result, it is good, but considering the quality, considering the outcome, because in a professional program, definitely the students were majorly preparing for their professional field. That is, they are able to perform well in the trade that they have been practicing, because this is something which has been conducted in an engineering college. Only 7% of the students were able to perform something that is related to the area of their study, which is related to the industry's significant domain. So this is the fallacy of our educational system. That is, 91% of failed, 91% has passed with the good marks, whatever it may be, they have qualified and they have been given a certificate passed. But only 7% of the students are job fit. They are preparing for a trade, but only 7% of the students are job fit. That is, the outcome of a professional program is to prepare them for an employable, that is to enhance the employability skills, but only 7% has been able to attain the target employable. So this is the fact. So this is not something which is revealed from the experimental scenario. Not only from the experimental scenario, most of the what you could say, these CEOs of big companies, industries has said that the students who are passing out of the Indian universities are not directly employable. They have to invest a huge amount of money for preparing them for the particular task. So this is the fallacy of the education system. So here we could see something in the x-axis. That is, they have mucked up many academical stuff from the college. But if you want to excel in the job area, definitely they should possess some competencies. X-axis, you can consider it as a set of competencies that is, so in the x-axis you could say that the academical stuff, but the y-axis is something related to the competencies that they make them successful in their workspace, isn't it? So what you could see that only 7% of the students are employable. Why they are not employable? Because these 7% are lacking the competencies that make them job fit. So in this chart, there are two dimensions. One, an academical dimensions, and the second one, the different competencies that make them successful in their, what you could say, a work, or it can be in the work, or it can be in the social scenario, whatever it may be. So the outcome based education is something that will make you, the outcome based education is an attempt to make the entire blue area as well as the red area into this green area. That means the students should be nurtured with their academical competencies as well as they should be skilled up. I repeat, skilled up with the competencies essential for them to be successful in their life and career. So if they are having that competency, definitely they will be coming into this area. So OBE is a educational approach focusing on making them academically sound as well as skillful to take up any challenges or competencies that make them successful in their life and career. So in an outcome-based education, we are not traveling in a horizontal direction. We are not traveling directly in a vertical direction. We are making the student progress in a slanting direction that takes you in this way, so that it is a process. The OB is something that makes the student successful both in their academical level as well as in their competency level that make them successful in their life and career. So this is the intention of the OBE, and what our education system focuses is that we want both the academical component as well as the competencies. That is why in an OBE scenario, we showcase different program outcomes like that. Program outcomes can be communication skills, problem solving skills. Likewise, isn't it? We are integrating a number of skills, problem solving, creativity, ethics, like that, a number of skills. Those skills can be showcased in a y-axis. Those skills are essential, problem solving skills, the ability to work in a team, leadership ability, all these skills are essential to make them successful in their career, as well as the subject knowledge and the ability to apply them in the real scenario. That both is needed. So they have to go hand in hand. So OB is an attempt to integrate, I repeat, integrate both the academics as well as the competencies, a good blend, so that all the students should be able to reach in this quadrant, the green quadrant. And as I've told that this OB is not something, a new thing. You are working in your workspace in an outcome-based scenario. In this context, I would like to put one question to you. That is, what is the most important question education should answer? what is the educational priority in an outcome-based scenario, whether it is what we teach or whether it is what did students learn or whether it is how well did students perform. So you can answer it by here, that is menti.com. You can take the website, you can take your browser and type menti.com, menti.com, and you can just then you will be asked with enter a code. The code is 68003567. So there you will be prompted with 3 answers. These 3 answers you can tick your observations. So you can just try it here. You can answer. You can take your browser, type menti.com, menti.com. You can take the browser. Okay, one of you have answered, 2 of you have answered. You can type 68003567. The website address is menti.com, menti.com. So you have to, they will be prompting you to enter a code. The code is given here, 68003567. 3567. and submit. Let me check how well. Nobody is going with the what did we teach. How well did the students perform? 13 have voted for that. 13 have voted for that. What did students learn? 7 has voted for that. Many answers are coming in the chat. This one you can put it in this so that we can have a comparison. What is our perspective here so that we can get it in one frame. 28 has answered. Many answers are coming. Many answers are coming in C. 20, and in the chat also many of you are answering and everyone is answering C. Few B's are there. Many C's are coming. Many of you are answering in the chat. I am checking both the chat also. If you could answer in this menti.com, then we can consolidate it in one frame so that we can have a discussion on that. Okay, so regarding the voting trend, most of you are of the opinion that in an outcome-based scenario, what we have to prioritize is how well did the student perform? How well did the student perform? So what exactly does it showcase? How well? That is, if the students perform in a very better way, definitely that is something related to the assessment part. You are focusing on the assessment. whether all of them are getting a distinction. Our focus is on how much marks, whether our college is having the first rank, isn't it? We are focusing more on that component. That is the third one. The first one, only two of you have polled for that. What did we teach? That is, here we are focusing on the role of the do we teach, isn't it? What did we teach? That is, we are focusing from the teacher's point of view. We are prioritizing on whether all the content is being completed, isn't it? What stuff? But the second one, what did students learn? What did students learn? Here, in an outcome-based education, our priority should be what the students have learned, whether they have attained that particular outcome, whether they have attained the target. That is important. In an outcome-based education, our focus is that whether the entire students have been completed or attained that target, not 100%. Our priority is not to take the students to the entire 100%, but what did they learn and whether they have been able to successfully completed or reach the minimum essential target which has been set in an outcome-based scenario. So learning is something very important, not the height or how well did they perform. That is, whether they have scored 100 out of 100. It is not whether they have scored 100 about 100. It is all about whether they have attained that outcome. Isn't it? That is most important in an outcome-based scenario. So, how did the students learn? And both the assessment part as well as the learning part is important. I don't say that C is not important, but more important is B. So, in an outcome-based education, you have to prioritize on assurance of learning, identify the gap and fill the gap, You are not prioritizing on how high you have attained. In an outcome-based scenario, we want the students to attain the target, whether they are performing well, whether they are performing above the target, because the outcome-based scenario is being intended to make all the students complete or attain the targeted level of their competencies. That is more important. Because in an outcome-based education, we are measuring the students on the basis of their competencies, on the outcomes, whether they have attained the outcomes. So, the right perspective in an outcome-based education is both B and C with priority to B. So, what we teach is not the primary concern, isn't it? What the students are learning is the primary concern. We have to customize that from this point of view, whether they are learning in the right way, whether they are attaining the target. So this is something very important in an outcome-based education. We want everyone to learn. That is, it is not about giving marks. In an outcome-based education, we are giving them many opportunities to check whether they are. That is, here assessment, primary focus of the assessment is to check whether they have learned. In an outcome-based scenario, the assessment can be two ways. One, summative assessment. Summative assessment is the final assessment that takes you to the final grade. And formative assessment is that which the teacher is been asking questions or giving some activities in order to ensure whether they are in the right track. If they are not in the right track, you have to give some remedial teaching and ensure that whether they are in rapport with the outcome. So in an outcome-based education, your primary focus is that whether the students are progressing in rapport with the outcome. In rapport with the outcome is that whether the students are learning in the lines of the outcome. That is priority. Not how much top mark the students have attained, who is the top performer, that is secondary. Everyone should be able to attain the minimum level of this outcome which we showcase as the target. So that is the priority of an outcome-based education. It is not a competition. It is not a competition. Everybody should go hand in hand and attain the level of outcomes. And our focus is that whether they are progressing, our priority is that whether they are progressing in the lines of the outcome. And how I will ensure it? Then and there, I will make some assessments, which I will say it is formative assessment to identify the gaps. The gap between the student's progression and the outcome. Fill the gap and assess them again, whether the gap persists. This is what an outcome-based education give importance. In the traditional system, our priority is that who is coming the first, who is the top learner. Okay, that is not, I don't say that it is not important, but priority, more important is everybody should learn. Everybody should be able to attain the target. That was the focus of outcome-based education. Okay, so this gives a clarity on. So that is why I've told you that when we go for mentoring through different colleges, definitely a most asked question is that, so whether this practice is okay, whether this practice is in line with outcome-based education. So when you conceptualize this, when you internalize this spirit of outcome-based education, definitely what you do in that line will be outcome-based. There is no need for an external approval. Internalize the spirit of outcome-based education. What is the priority of outcome-based education? Why we are going with an outcome-based education? The last slide, we want the students to be academically sound as well as nurture with the competencies, so that blend it together in the real way, so that they become successful in life and career. And in outcome-based education, as a teacher, what is our priority? We want to ensure whether the students is going in rapport with the outcome. Identify gap, fill the gap. Identify the gap, fill the gap. Ensure all has attained the target. Who is coming the top as the top scorer? That is secondary important. The most important is that we want a democratic progression into the target. So in this line, you can read what is outcome-based education. Since we are talking about that outcome-based education, I have just verbally stated what outcome-based education really is. So outcome-based education is a model of education that deviates from the traditional focus. What was the traditional focus? Priority on what all stuff that we are providing. What all stuff that we are providing. Whether we have given such and such things, isn't it? Or so that is our priority. What the teacher should provide. So what curriculum, whether their curriculum is going in the lines, whether the teachers are progressing correctly in accordance with the schedules. All these things are our traditional priorities. But in an outcome-based education, the priority is that, what is that priority? The institution provides to students in favor of making students demonstrate that they know and able to do. These are the two priorities. That is, in the first slide, I have given an x-axis, whether they have passed in the academical examination. That is, whether they are able to, they have actualized the academical level. That is, they are able to know the knowledge level. Able to know means their knowledge level is being tested in the academical exams. And able to do, that means their skill level is being tested, whether they are able to apply all these things in a real work spaces. So in an outcome-based education, we have to blend the knowledge and skill together, so that they are able to make a successful progression in the outcome that is showcased in the program and course. So this is what outcome-based education. We want to ensure both the knowledge component as well as the skill component, and whether they are integrated in the right way as they are applicable in the real life scenario. That is what outcome-based education is. So basically, these are the four principles of an outcome-based education. Clarity of focus. Clarity of focus. Because in an outcome-based education, definitely we are projecting what the students are capable of doing at the end of the program. If it is a class, at the end of the class, what the student should be capable of doing. So what you have to attain at the end is taken first. So definitely there is a clarity on how you should progress in the class, how you should progress in the course, because the end part is clear. What should be the outcome is clear. When the outcome is clear, then the way to the outcome could be traced in a clear way. So you will not be going through a wasteful effort, isn't it? Your direction is clear, so all that activities will be channeled and streamlined to reach the outcome. So there is a clarity of focus. The outcome is right in front of you. So you have to customize your curriculum to reach that end. Second, deciding down. So when the outcome is there, you can plan that activities from the outcome. Just like you are developing your activities, you're tracing your route from the outcome. How that is where the students are currently, what is their level at present, and what is the level they have to attain at the end. So you can trace the gap between the student and the end, what they're able to actualize at the end. That could be traced out. So you have to design everything from the outcome, and you have to reach the students from that outcome. So that is designing. So the curriculum should be designed in such a way that the path from the student to the desired target or outcome should be traced in that way from the outcome to the student's level. So here there is a clarity of focus where to go, and the program should be designing from that outcome to the current level of the students. And high expectations. High expectations, definitely in the previous days presentations of the mentor sir, obviously he would have very clearly stated that everybody can learn. That is Bloom's taxonomy. The taxonomy says that anybody can learn if you are providing the right experience appropriate to their level. So the problem is that if you are able to provide a real experiences, learning experiences according to the level of learning, definitely everybody will be able to learn. That is why we are prioritizing on Bloom's taxonomy. Suppose if your learning experience is centered around an application level, definitely the student should have already attained an understanding level of that particular scenario. Without having an understanding level, you will not be able to apply it. Suppose if you are arranging a learning experiences at an analytical level, definitely the students should have a prerequisite of applying their knowledge into the different components of the different analytical components that is considered in your teaching learning experience. So application is a prerequisite for analysis. Understanding of the concept is a prerequisite for application. So likewise, the knowledge is progressing in a continuum. So if you want your learning experience to be charted out in an application level, definitely you have to ensure whether there is a conceptual clarity of the students so that they can apply it in the real case scenarios. So if all the students are having that particular level of understanding, definitely your classes becomes very effective. You can take them to that application level in a very effective way. So high expectations of the students is that anybody can learn if there is a right, what you could say, rapport between the prior knowledge and the current learning. So why the students are not learning or why the class is not becoming effective is because there is no continuum between the prerequisite prior knowledge and the current learning experiences. So to figure out what should be the prior knowledge to bring or give an effective learning experiences, you should have a thorough concept of Bloom's taxonomy. That is why we have told that Bloom's taxonomy is something, the lifeblood of outcome-based education. Because if you want to take the classes in the right way, definitely you should showcase these learning experiences in a Bloom's level so that you get clarity on that. And if you're showcasing it in that way, then anybody can learn. And expanded opportunities. Expanded opportunities means that because in the Bloom's taxonomy, actually the first segment of the Bloom's taxonomy, not Bloom's taxonomy, that outcome-based education. The William Spady is considered as the father of outcome-based education. He has projected the concept of outcome-based education in a journal. I've gone through that journal literature. There, he specifically said, when he was speaking regarding expanded opportunity, the Spady has very rightly said that as a teacher, you should not enter the mark of the students by using a pen. You should enter the marks or the level of attainment by pencil. Why pen and pencil? What matters? Because the marks that you enter should not be final. You should give them another opportunity to improve their performance so that they could be upgraded at least to reach the targeted level. That is why in the previous slide I told that priority is not that highest quality performance. The priority is that whether they are learning so that their attainment is being that is, you are able to elevate the attainment to the targeted level. So in an outcome-based education, you have to give diversified opportunity to the students, expanded opportunity to the students to learn and relearn and to get and to fill the gap between the outcome and the level of learning so that they will be able to attain the targeted level. That is why expanded opportunity, not one exam and marks. So what an outcome-based education says that we want to ensure learning. Assurance of learning is the key word in an outcome-based education. Assure learning. Everybody should learn. Everybody should cover the target. That is what. So if someone didn't take into in the first attempt, give them an opportunity. That is, you have not giving them an opportunity. You have to fill the gap. Why did they didn't reach the target? What is the gap that has been existing in their learning segment? Fill that gap, give them remedy, and then give them an opportunity to redo so that they will be elevated into a particular level. So the importance is what they learn, whether they are learning in the right way, whether there is any gap in their learning. That should be the top priority. That should be the top priority in a teaching learning scenario for an outcome-based education. That is why I've given that slide first. Top priority. The other two, we cannot say that they are not in the priority, but top priority is there. And assurance of learning. So how well did they learn? How they're learning, that's a priority. And regarding what should be the nature of outcome? Because in an outcome-based education will become more meaningful only when the outcomes that you formulate touch the students' their life. That is, you should connect the outcomes in an academic platform with the real time, real time in the sense the outcome should be related to their life outside, or the outcome should be connected with their workspaces, what the industry require. So the outcome should lessen the gap between the academic and the industry, as well as the academic and their life. So what it means that the outcomes should not be isolated from the real life scenario, or the outcome should not be isolated with the real works or their society. The outcome should be connected with the societal requirements. The outcome should be connected with their workspace requirements. The outcome should be related to their personal life requirements. So that is something very important. That is why you can just read here. The outcome-based education becomes successful only when what will my student do out there? Out there means after going out of the college, they have to live in and with the society. They have to work in some this workspaces, either as a professional or as an entrepreneur, or in any other area. So the outcomes, that is what my students do out there in the real world, family, work, and community, as the result of what we do in here in my classroom. So there should be a connection between what they do out there in the real world when they go out, should be connected in with what they do in here. So what does that emphasizes? The outcomes that we formulate should have a real world connectivity. That is why when we formulate an outcome-based education, there should be a clear rapport between the stakeholder requirement as well as what we give in the academical platform. So our academy should be connected with the stakeholder requirement, so that while formulating the outcome-based education or formulating the curriculum in an outcome-based education, the windows to the society and the workspace should be open. There should be continuous improvement the curriculum of the outcome-based education, so that whatever there in the academy should be abreast with the latest developments of technology, workspace requirement, and the societal norms. That is what you give in here in the college or academy should be connected with what they have to be out there, what they have to do out there. So this is something very important. In the first light, they have got 91% of students have passed. That is very good thing. But they are not able to connect to what is happening out there. That is why only 7% students are able to connect to what is happening out there. That should not happen. In an outcome-based education, outcomes should come in from the doors of outer world. So you have to equip the students in the real life scenario. You have to equip the students in the real life scenario. The curriculum should be connected with the life. If the curriculum is connected with life, the assessment also should be connected with a real life scenario or the real industrial requirement. So this is how the curriculum of an outcome-based education should evolve. Then only the outcome-based education could be connecting the students to the real life environment, so they can very confidently walk out of the college into a successful life. Otherwise, they will move out of the college as confused graduates. So while formulating the outcomes, this should be important. You are preparing the students not for getting high marks. You are preparing the students to be successful in their life and career, isn't it? So the real assessment will happen only after they pass out of the college, by taking indirect assessments after 2 or 3 years, how they are performing in their workspaces through the alumni interactions or from the employers. So that is what outcome-based education. The most important thing is that connectivity between the academical outcome that you give in the college as well as what they have to do out there should be important. Actually, I'm speaking for a long time. I want to hear something from you. So here, the traditional education system and the contemporary education system, two scenarios are being showcased. Two scenarios is being showcased. I want you to identify. I want to identify what is the difference between this. This is not the professor. This is the scholar. This is the scholar. The first component here, the traditional scholar, a traditional scholar, what they are being expected in an educational system. This is the contemporary system, can be an outcome-based scenario. What's the difference that you perceive here? You put it in chat because I was been talking for a long time. Obviously, you will be getting very bored. So I was, yes, yeah, Dr. Parminder Bajaj has given multitasking. Okay, good. Then please respond in the chat. You can put it in chat. Okay, multifunctional, George Matthew, multifunctional, good. Multitasking, 21st century skills, yeah. Holistic education now. Contemporary have multiple abilities and thinking, very good, Kavita. Yeah, many of you are asking. Multitasking and job ready. Definitely, you are there. I'm very happy. So here, obviously, in the traditional system, interdisciplinary, definitely. Now we say that in NP 2020, we have to prioritize more on interdisciplinary. Even in a staff room, the teachers from different disciplines should come and sit together, isn't it? They have to formulate the curriculum in an interdisciplinary perspective, because now nothing is given in airtight compartments. Everyone have to interact, isn't it? The teaching and learning becomes more effective only when all the components should be integrated. Okay, definitely, very good. So, in the traditional system, what you could say that our priority was whether they are performing well in the examination, whether all of them are getting more marks, isn't it? Whether the students have mucked up whatever we have given in the class. Probably we will be giving many notes, and 60 to 70% of our examinations will be based on the notes that we give, whether the students have crammed their notes, whether they have been a bookworm, and whether they have digested all that we have taught, and they have been writing it exactly without any change in the examinations, and whether they are getting good marks. That is what the traditional focus. In my good early days, I was also thinking in that way. I want all my students to have a distinction marks, whether so I have to pressurize them. But later, in this contemporary scenario, we don't say that knowledge acquisition is less important. It is important. Together with the knowledge acquisition, we want them with multiple skills on how they are able to apply the knowledge is important. Understanding level of knowledge is needed, but more important is that how they are able to apply their knowledge and solve their problems, how critical, how creative they can connect that knowledge with different scenarios, how well they can evaluate, how well they can evaluate a system and understand their good and weak points, and how well they will be able to nurture the weak system and bring it to an ideal one, whether they are going time management, project management, how well they are able to communicate with the new technologies. Likewise, a number of skills along with the knowledge is important. That is why in the first slide, horizontally, everyone passed is knowledge component. Vertically, whether they are able to be successful in their whether they are able to be successful in their career or the task which they have been given, they have to be nurtured with a number of competencies like communication skills, isn't it? Creative thinking, problem solving, time management, project management, leadership quality, likewise, team working in a team. All these things should go hand in hand with their knowledge. Then only they can be successful. That is what the second one. So a contemporary, in the traditional system, in the contemporary system, we want students to be multitaskers. We want our students to be equipped with all the 21st century skills that make them successful in their life and career, isn't it? So that is what here. While I was been having a section uh, priorly, when I asked, so what's the difference between the traditional system and the contemporary system? And somebody has given me a very interesting answer that in the contemporary system, sir, the scholars are wearing spectacles. And I was been observing, oh, right, that is one difference. In the traditional system, there is no specs, and in the contemporary system, they are wearing their glasses, isn't it? And obviously, their free time, leisure time utilization is also very important. So that should be so. That is the integrated system here. So that was for a fun. Somebody has given a joke. So in the contemporary system, we need a specs like a 3D specs is needed to evolve through this. That is, and I am also wearing a specs at that time. So I told that it's not because of the contemporary system, isn't it? That was for a fun. So here, really they have to be equipped with multiple competencies. So now we can just go to the architecture of outcome-based education. What is the learning map of an OBE? So this is if a system is integrated, if a system is integrated with an outcome-based education, this is the flow chart, or this is the academical flow that will be happening. Because at the top level, definitely every educational system will have a very a vision, and mission will be there, and all the activities of the system will be rooted in their vision, and mission is of the activities that take you to that vision. And obviously, we'll be all when our colleges is preparing for accreditation. Definitely, we have clearly noticed that a very beautiful vision and mission statement will be showcased at a very central position where anybody could view it. Definitely, every educational system should have a vision and mission. And the vision and mission, all the activities under that will be in the particular lines. And here, the second component that we could see here is that program educational objectives. Program educational objectives. The program educational objectives is nothing but what should be the educational goals. So why this is the only odd man in an outcome-based framework where we showcase it in the form of an objective or goal. Yes. So formulation of the curriculum will begin with this one. Formulation of what? Program educational objectives. It is not distant goal. The program educational objective emphasizes what the student should be able to do when they pass out of the college within the first few years of their pass out of the college. Isn't it? That is the poster. This program educational objectives is something related to that when they pass out of the college, what the students are capable of doing within the first few years. It is not the distant goal after 20 years or 30 years or something like that. It is immediate. What is immediately when they pass out, what the student should be prepared for, and what they should be capable of doing. So that is program educational objective, immediate goal after the program. So it is the post-program, post-goal, the post-objectives that the students are able to perform after the completion of the program. So from where do we get it? That should be filtered out from the stakeholder requirement or the workspace requirement, the societal informations, requirements, etc. That should be taken into consideration while formulating the educational goals. And it is on the basis of these educational goals we formulate program outcomes. So program outcomes are nothing but a set of competencies, which we call as graduate attribute. You will be hearing about graduate attribute. So graduate attributes are nothing but the set of competencies which is essential for the accomplishment of these educational goals, isn't it? So different competencies are needed. Different competencies are needed. Like that, when they pass out of the education institutions, they should have a very good communication skill. They should have a problem-solving ability. They should have the ability to work in a team. They should have the ability to take their teaching, learning, their knowledge into a functional level, to application level. Likewise, a number of competencies are essential. So program outcomes are those essential competencies that help them for attainment of their educational goals. So definitely these educational goals, these program outcomes or the graduate attributes or the set of competencies are filtered out from the program educational objectives. So after listing the program educational objectives, your next level is that what are the prerequisites or what are the competencies essential for these educational, for the successful accomplishment of these educational goals. These are program outcomes. So these program outcomes are that is when the students move out of the educational institution after completing of the program, they should be having the minimum targeted level of this program educational, the program outcomes or the competencies. They should have the minimum level of competencies that we have showcased. That is the end point is been filtered out and showcased first. And how these competencies are attained. These competencies are attained through our course, through our different courses that we provide in the program. Isn't it? Courses are nothing but a set of activities, a curricular activities in the form of different subjects. Isn't it? Different learning experiences that you provide, the different project, different activities you do. So all these things are done targeting the attainment of this program outcomes. So while formulating an outcomes, we have to design down. Down in the sense, vision and mission is first thing, and on the base of vision and mission and the society's requirement, we will formulate the educational objectives, and on the basis of educational objectives, we will filter out what all competencies are essential for the accomplishment of these educational objectives. These competencies will be showcased as program outcomes, and throughout the program, our intent will be the attainment of what you have showcased as program outcomes. So how will you do that? It is done through the different programs, the different courses, curriculum, syllabus, different activities you give throughout the semesters, isn't it? Through the different semesters, through different activities. So these courses will be selected on the basis of what are program outcomes you have to attain. The courses will be in the lines of the program outcomes. So you are designing down. And how the assessment is been happening. You are not directly going and assessing the program outcomes. The assessment is done towards each courses from the grassroots level. So by assessing the course outcomes, if there are about how many courses will be there? If in a semester there are 7 courses, if there are about this 4-year programs, there are 8 semesters. So if there are 6 courses, 8, 6, 48 to 50 courses will be there. So all these courses will be having a set of course outcomes. So at the grassroots level, what you are doing is that you will be quantifying or assessing the attainment level of the outcomes of each courses. So if there are 50 courses, each courses will be having 5 outcomes or something like that. So there will be 150 course outcomes distributed across 8 semesters. So what you're doing is that you will be quantifying the attainment level of each courses and ensure that whether all the students have attained the targeted level of course level attainment, like that you will be ensuring. If it is not that, you will be giving them chances like that. Ensure all of them have attaining that minimum level. And when all these courses has been completed, and from the attainment level of courses, you will be calculating the final program, isn't it? So the assessment is coming from the grassroots level. The course outcomes are calculated through different activities. It can be project, it can be written examinations, it can be assessment through portfolios, it can be performance through the assignments, it can be through the different seminars. So every seminars, every assessments will be having some micro outcomes. On the basis of micro outcomes, you will be computing course level outcomes, and you will be calculating the outcomes of each courses, and from the course level you will be calculating the outcomes of the program. So assessment is something that is happening from bottom to top. And when all the course outcomes are attained, they will be passing out, and they will be flourishing through their workspace and life space. And within 2 or 3 years, you have to collect feedback from the alumni and entrepreneurs regarding their nature of life and work and how they're progressing. That is the final assessment that you have to ensure whether your program outcomes and their real-time assessments are going in together. If there is gap, make them some corrections in the programs. So this is how the topology of teaching learning process should happen in an outcome-based scenario. So this is the architecture of an outcome-based scenario where you have to progress from top down. And in the upcoming slides, we will be going through a little more detail into what program outcome means, what course outcome means, and how to formulate a course outcomes, and what is a quality check of a good outcome. So this is what we are going to do it in the upcoming slides. So in an outcome scenario, we have explained this one in the previous slide clearly. When we are formulating an outcome-based education, the first thing that we identify is that what should be the immediate educational goals. That is program educational objective. That is a technical term that you give in an outcome-based scenario. This is the only odd man in an outcome-based without mentioning outcome. We showcase it as objective because it is futuristic. So what is that? These are the broad statements that focuses on the goal or post completion of the program. Post completion of the program is after completing the program within 2-3 years. Within 2-3 years, what they should be capable of doing. So for formulating program educational objective, what question you should ask? It is not the task of the teachers, it is the task of the institution. The institution, while formulating a program, they should ask this question. On completion of the program within first 3 years, first 3 or 5 years, what the students should be capable of doing. What should be prepared? What should this program prepare them for? What the students should be prepared them for after completing this program? That answer to that questions will be program educational objectives, isn't it? That is, they should be able to get into a good career, or they should excel as a good entrepreneur, or they have to be a productive member of the society, or they have to pursue their higher education if it's an undergraduate programs. A number of answers will come out. These answers should be formulated as program educational objectives. Normally, this program educational objectives will be not specific, it will be comprehensive. So obviously, there will be some 3 to 4 program educational objectives which will be showcased for a program. I have just written 3 dummy program educational objectives. It's a dummy program educational objectives. So what the program should prepare the students for? So the answer to that, the graduate should be prepared to demonstrate competency and leadership to become professional, employees, or an entrepreneur leading to a successful career or pursue higher education. So when the students come for a undergraduate program, their primary focus is that to fix them into a career. That will be a prime focus, isn't it? That will be one goal. After post completion, their prime focus is to get a job. Get a job. So your outcome-based education should prepare them with that competencies that is essential for them to get a job, isn't it? Or sometimes they may think that I want to study a little more higher. I want to get a PG program, or I want to go for a doctoral study, or I want to go a little more different level of study. So sometimes they want to pursue, continue their education. So that can be one goal. So career or higher education, isn't it? So they have to move from this program into a higher education or into, so their progression after that is what environment and social responsibility that is connected to their life. The graduate should be able to demonstrate commitment towards the preservation of environment and sustainable development of the society. So the program should not only prepare them for their progression, but they should prepare them for a human, a good individual who can contribute well and live in and with the society. So social accountability, not only social accountability, they should live in and through the environment. They should have a concept regarding the sustainable, how can they maintain a sustainable environment so that after this generation, there are many generations to come. So how can I lead a life that will contribute to a sustainable environment? All these things are more important challenges in the higher education should focus. Sustainability or lifelong learning, because we know that every knowledge area or whatever that we have to pursue in the real time is been exploding like anything. We cannot live a lifetime with what we have learned from our colleges, isn't it? Every time, especially in the domain of computer science, whatever we learn today will be outdated within 2, 3, or 6 months. So we have to develop what you could say, a mechanism of updating us so that we can keep abreast with the latest developments. So like that, we have to first understand what the students should be capable of doing post completion of the program. On the basis of that, we formulate program education objectives. So the purpose of the education is preparing them for a life. Preparation for life. So what are the area that they should prepare? What are the immediate objective, immediate areas should be prepared, should be showcased as the program education objectives. Now comes graduate attribute. When we think about outcome-based education, the most important thing is graduate attribute. What is graduate attributes? The graduate attributes are nothing but the qualities and competencies that is expected in a graduate. That is expected in a graduate related to the PUs. Because when we formulate a program, we will be showcasing the different program educational objectives. So what are the competencies essential for them for actualizing that educational goals should be filtered out. That is nothing but the graduate attribute. Suppose if I take the first PEO, in the previous slide I've shown PEO. The graduate should be able to demonstrate competencies and leadership to become a professional, employee, and or entrepreneur, leading to a successful career or pursue higher education. Suppose if this is our educational goal. So for actualizing of this, what all competencies or qualities that we should ensure in the students? You can just put it in, you can you can just put it in your chat. All these questions will be taken after this our discussions, because in between, if we divert, we will not reach anywhere. All the questions will be answered.
Let me just contact Sunil sir and inform him. Please hold on. Just log out and log back in. Okay. Please wait for that.
Hello? Hello? Sajjan, is it okay? Is it okay? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, okay. I'll come to the presentation mode. Is the screen okay now? Is the screen okay? Can you see the screen?
Visible. Screen is okay.
Okay,
Proceed,
okay,
proceed.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Thank you, thank you. So this is where we lost the connection. So this is what we have been telling. Most of you have responded here. So here we know that the first thing that we have to identify uh, when we are formulating a outcome is for education, we have to identify what should be the program educational objectives. And it is from that program educational objectives, we filter out what are the competencies, what are the competencies, what are the competencies that is essential for the accomplishment of this. So here, since this is what our first this PEO. So for the attainment of that, what we have to equip the students is that they should have problem solving skills, they should have communication skills, they should have the ability to work in a team. Likewise, a number of competencies should be there, isn't it? So it is from these program educational objectives, we identify the different qualities and competencies that is essential for the accomplishment. So from where do this graduate attribute is from where do we identify it? Is that definitely from the program educational objective. It is there in rapport. So here the UGC has identified a number of graduate attributes that could be identified as the graduate attribute for our programs. This is just like a buffet. You can identify what all graduate attributes is appropriate for the program educational objectives that you have identified. So this is not a comprehensive list. You can include something beyond that. So this is only a sample suggestions by this UGC. That is, it can be disciplinary knowledge, domain knowledge. Suppose if the students are going for a higher level of education, they should have a knowledge regarding the subject should be there. Communication skill, critical thinking, problem solving, analytical reasoning, research skills like cooperation and teamwork, scientific reasoning, reflective thinking, information, digital literacy, self-directed learning. All these things are essential. All these skills are the different attributes. These are nothing but a bunch of competencies. Communication skill is a bunch of competencies like the skill of reading, the skill of writing, the skill of comprehending, the skill of what you could say conversations, the skill of negotiations, like that. A number of things comes under communication skills. So these are nothing but the bunch of competencies. So so what all bunches of competencies are essential or related to that PEO that we have selected? That is graduate attributes. And now program outcomes are nothing but graduate attributes written in a functional form. I think you got it. Graduate attributes is a set of competencies, but program outcomes are what? Outcomes are measurable, demonstrable statement derived from those attributes. Those attributes. So program outcomes as well as the graduate attributes are not two. The graduate attributes written in a functional form, we can call it as a program outcome. For example, communication skill. If I take communication skill, that is what something you showcase. The communication skill includes a number of things, isn't it? Like ability to read, ability to write, ability to comprehend, ability to do conversations, ability to do negotiations like that, a number of things together, it will contribute to the communication skills. So communication skill, the graduate attribute communication skill, when it is written as a graduate outcome, what we could say, apply the what you could say, apply the knowledge for this reading, writing, communicating, negotiating, conversations in both the life as well as the life. So you are putting it in a verbal form. So the communication, that graduate attribute, when it is written in a functional form, in a verbal form, in terms of what the students are capable of doing with respect to the communication skill, or with respect to that particular graduate attribute, we call it as this program outcome. So program outcome is nothing but what the students are capable of performing, doing with respect to the graduate attribute. We can call it as the program outcome. So graduate attribute form is the program outcome. So that is what this refers to: the knowledge, skill, and attitude, observable and measurable end products that the student should have at the end of the program. So program outcomes are nothing but the end product of a course. So if you are writing the program outcome as a graduate attribute, both the graduate attribute and program outcomes are to some extent same. Graduate attribute, when it is written in a functional form, we call it the program outcome. So for the time being, I will call it as a program outcome. So program outcomes are the end product of a program. So before starting a program, we are just displaying these are the end outcomes that you attain after completing the 4-year undergraduate programs, like communication skill, what you will be able to do with the communication skill, problem solving skill, what you are able to do with the problem solving skills, teamwork, how can you contribute in a team scenario, how will you be able to perform. So that will be written in a verbal form. So the what should happen in the end is taken as initial point, and we are customizing all the activities of the program so that by the end of the program this is attained. So what program outcome just means is that it is a verbal statement that shows the measurable end product of a program. So here we can see that this end product can be in the form of knowledge, skills, or attitude. So if you take the graduate attributes like disciplinary knowledge, domain knowledge, all these things are knowledge component. Communication skills, all these are skill component. Attitude means environment, sustainability, all these things are something related to our attitude. Ethics, all these things are something related to our attitude. So the program outcome can take the form of a knowledge, can take of a skill, can take the form of an attitude. Together, what the student should attain at the end will be showcased as program outcomes. And program specific outcomes are something related to the program specific, isn't it? So in a college, there will be different programs like BCom, the BA, BSc, BCA, likewise different programs will be there. So program outcomes are some common attributes that every program should have. We can showcase it as program outcomes. Generic outcomes for across the program is program outcomes. But different programs will have some specific. For example, for BCA, they should have some more computational skills, isn't it? For literature, they should have some additional language capabilities of handling language. So likewise, some specific related to these could be considered as program specific. So together we could say that by the end of the program, the students should have some generic program outcomes and some specific program outcomes related to their specific area. That is what program specific outcomes. And finally, while we make assessments, when the students leave the college, definitely they will be assessed two-dimensionally, because traditionally we are giving them mark list that showcases their attainment in their specific subject area, isn't it? In the specific subject area, probably they can be about 40 to 48 subjects or courses that they have done in the program. So they will be having different mark list for different semesters that showcase how much is their attainment in each subject. So that is one area of assessment, academic assessment. The second area assessment is that they will be assessed in terms of the program outcomes. So every college may have some 10 to 12 or so 8 to 12 program outcomes will be specifically selected for their programs. So apart from their scholastic attainment, they will be assessed in terms of to what level they have attained with respect to their domain knowledge. That is their subject. What level they have attained with respect to their what you could say communication skill. What level they have attained with respect to the proficiency in using modern tools. What level they have attained likewise. So these 9 graduate attributes. These 9 program outcomes are taken from our college, Marian College, Kuttikkanam. We have got 9 program outcomes. The program outcomes related to your college may be slightly different, but about 60 to 70% will be common. Some difference will be there here and there with respect to the college. So apart from their scholastic attainment, you have to make assessment with respect to their, what you could say, the program outcome wise attainment. So this could be calculated only after completion of the entire programs, isn't it? After completion of the entire semesters, 6 semester for 3-year program. Now it is 4-year programs. The complete 4-year programs. After completion of that, they will be calculating what is their program level attainment. They will be calculating it, and you can give it to the students. But now currently, most of the colleges are giving only the academic attainment, and this attainment they are keeping as a institutional document. But in our college, we are providing it to the students as separate OBE certificate. OBE certificate. What does this emphasize? This is a clear-cut profile of the students. Suppose if the students are going for a placement, they can produce their mark list as well as their OBE certificate. And what is this OBE certificate? It is our institutional observations on the level of competencies, isn't it? Suppose teamwork. This guy is having 2.6. This is a score out of 3. Maximum is 3. Maximum is 3. That means he is having about 80%, more than 80% level with respect to the competencies. He is having a very good competency, isn't it? Communication skill, he is having 1.8. That means about 60% level is there. So this is an authentic profile that you are giving to the students that they can showcase to the employer about their level of performance with respect to their what you could say the 21st century skills, or with respect to their job related skills, what level they could perform. It is your assessment. But the danger is that if this is not correct, that is, if your assessment is not real, if you are just giving some assessment without validating it, then that will backfire on you. Suppose if you're giving communication skill 3 out of 3 full, or 2.8, that is about 90% on high. That is, the students is taking the certificate to the employer, and he is going to appoint him as a public relation officer to communicate with the stakeholders and customers, etc. So more important is that they should have a good communication skills. And if this guy who is appointed by checking your score of communication skill that you have given as 2.8 or 3, and if this guy is do not have that much of competency to make an official correspondence, even if you are not able to write an official letter of his own, or if you are making a lot of mistakes in his communications, then what will happen? Definitely that will backfire on your college, and your college will be listed in the blacklist. Nobody will consider you. So this could be provided as a certificate to the students when the college is, when your assessment system has become mature and valid. Because most important thing, an assessment tool is it should be valid. It should assess what it intend to measure. So it should be truthful. If the assessment is valid, it will be truthful. Then even without an interview, the employer can appoint the students by checking their competencies. If the competencies that essential for that particular job, and if the students are having good scores with that, definitely without any entrance or examinations, they can directly recruit him. So this is something that should be taken care with authenticity. Validity should be there. So your assessment system should be mature. And what is this? Some you can give it in the form of a score, or you can give it in the form of a heat map. That is this is the moderate level of attainment. That is an orange. You can give a color code for that. If it is orange, that means the students have attained moderate. Moderate in the sense they have attained the minimum. Minimum is, suppose if you are putting the target as 50, then if it goes below 50, that means out of 3, 1.5, that means the target is not attained. Because in an outcome-based education, everyone should attain the target. That was the watchword of an outcome-based education. They have moderately completed the target. If it is green, they have highly attained the target, more than 70% level. They have highly attained the target. So it is not the maximum mark is important, but whether they have attained the target in a higher proficiency level or a moderate proficiency level. We cannot compromise for breadth. We want everyone to go higher than that. And regarding the course outcome, definitely program outcome is, as I've told that, what I've told that it is the end product of a program, what the students are capable of doing at the end of the program. But course outcome is the course counterpart, because you will be provided with to engage or complete a course. A syllabus will be given to you. So for formulation of the syllabus, the first thing that you have to do is that what should be the outcome of that particular course. That means if you take it little more technically, what the student should be capable of doing after completion of this course. The answer to that will be the course outcome. So it is the resultant knowledge. That means the end knowledge or skill the student acquire at the end of the course. That is what the course outcome. So formulating a course outcome is the responsibility of the teacher handling the course. The teacher handling the course. For writing the course outcome, you have to first pause and ask a question. That is, you are going to teach, this is the syllabus. What all thing the student should be capable of doing on completion of this course? You will be getting an answer. Comprehend that answer, consolidate it, and write it in the form of an outcome related to that particular course. There are two ways of writing that outcome. You can write this outcome module wise, or you can write it cross-sectional, longitudinal wise. That is, you can ask the question after completing of the entire program, what the student should be able to do. We'll be getting that answers. So you can filter out 4 or 5, 5 to 6 or 7 answers for that question, and you can write it in the form of an outcome. Or you can ask this question module wise. If there are 5 modules, you ask this question: what the students are capable of doing after completing this module. You will get write it in the form of as outcome statement. It can be one statement. Suppose if it is a broader area, you may be getting 2 answers. You can put it as 2 answers, 2 outcomes. So normally in a what you could say a course, you can formulate 4 to 6 outcomes. That will be a nominal level. If you go for higher, then you will become more complicated. You have to calculate it. You have to map all these outcomes to what you could say the POs. For calculations, it will become very complicated. So it's an optimum. It is a good practice to restrict outcome around about 4 to 6 or whatever. And our next is how to write an outcome. How to write an outcome. This is something very important. The outcome has got two components. So I'm not talking about a program outcome or a course outcome. I'm just telling you about how to write a minimal outcome. That is, suppose if you're going to, in an outcome-based education, everything should be centered around outcome. Suppose if you're going to take a class, before going to a class, you have to think about the micro outcome. That is, after completion of my class, what should be the end outcome that I have to reach? So answer to that should be written in the form of a statement. That is a learning outcome. So top level, there is program outcome. Course level, there is course outcome. And every class you reach that program out, that course outcomes should be fragmented to micro outcomes or intended learning outcome. So intended learning outcome is something that you have to conceptualize. What is the end outcome that I have to attain, that I have to acquire after completion of that? For this, you have got two things: one, action verb, and other, learning state. Action verb will help you to identify what is the level of learning. It is here you apply Bloom's taxonomy. Suppose if your these verbs are clustered around understanding level, that means if you want the students to explain the concept, so the outcome will be after completion of my class, the student should be able to explain the principles of quantum mechanics or quantum computation. Explain the concept of quantum computation. So what is my focus? After teaching this segment, I want my students to explain it. Explain is something that comes at the second level of the Bloom's taxonomy. You are taking the students to the second level. Suppose I want to apply it. I want to apply Newton's law in a real-time situations. So your learning level will go little more. So for formulation and outcome, there is a verb component and the learning statement. Together, you can put it as a learning. So the learning out, this is what action verb and learning statement. Actually, I am handling one paper, operation research for MCA level at Marian College. There, obviously, operation research deals with optimization techniques. So here, what I have formulated is that this is the outcome. I want to make the students appraise. Appraise means to evaluate. It is going to a higher level, isn't it? In the Bloom's taxonomy, remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, then only creating. I want the students to attain the fifth level, isn't it? Appraise what? Effectiveness. Appraise effectiveness of optimization technique. There are different optimization techniques which has been taught there, like integer programming, dynamic programming, simplex algorithms, like that. Different optimization techniques are there, isn't it? So which technique is effective in this scenario? I want the students to learn that level of competence. For that, they should know how to develop a model, how to optimize it, solve it, and evaluate it. So evaluation is a higher level. If you want to reach that higher level, they have to traverse all these levels to reach that particular level. So if I appraise the effectiveness of optimization technique, that is an outcome, and I want to delimit it to an industrial scenario. So it can be in many scenarios. I want to delimit it in the industrial scenario. So action verb, the learning topic or content, and the context. The context can be there. If it is without context, it will be very broad. So the outcome is that appraise effectiveness of optimization technique in the industry. So this will be appraise the effectiveness of the optimization technique in the industry. So an outcome should have minimum two components. One, action verb. An action verb should be related to what? Bloom's taxonomy. And learning statement, that is something that you are making the students learn. And you can delimit it with respect to the scenarios. So that is the learning outcome. So now I can ask you that you can choose any small topic. You can choose any topic and write a small outcome. I will not ask you to put it in chat. You can write and keep. Suppose if you are going to teach something about Ohm's law, isn't it? Then that particular outcome that you focus is that after completing, the student should be able to define Ohm's law. So you'll be teaching only the definition. Or sometimes you want to give them little more meaningful explanation, so that by the end, okay. Likewise, any topic. Suppose if you want to teach democracy, then what is your outcome that you're going to? So you can just take any topic that you're handling, a topic that you're going to teach, and write a small outcome. The time is ticking up. We will speed up. I'll conclude it now. Don't put it in chat. You can read it, keep it. I think you can evaluate it by yourself. So definitely there will be an action verb as well as the learning statement will be there. So while formulating an outcome, the most important point of an outcome is that the outcome should be observable. What the students are capable of doing, it is capable of observable and measurable, isn't it? So it is a good practice not to use the following verbs like understand. The students understand democracy. Suppose if I say like that, can you observe, understand democracy from that statement? What the students are capable of doing, are you able to identify from that? Suppose if you write explains the principles of democracy, it is clear. After teaching, if the students are able to explain it, okay, it is observable. So outcomes should be in the form of observable, isn't it? The student should be able to explain the principles of democracy or define Ohm's law. So there it is clearly said what the students are capable of doing. So it is just like a question. The outcome and the final question that you give for an exam will be to some sort identical. The outcome is the highest possible evaluation question. The end product, you are assessing your learning by giving some question. That question is being filtered first, and you are channelizing your activities to realize whether they are able to capable of doing. That is the very simple way of answering, isn't it? Appreciate. It is not observable. If you want to check whether there is whether they are appreciating, you should find a different indicator. So outcome itself should be an indicator of their learning, isn't it? No, familiar. So it is better practice to avoid this one. But in many cases, I have seen that understand. Yeah, you can use that term and that verb understand for writing program outcomes because you are not directly measuring program outcomes. When you're coming to micro level outcome, the outcome itself should be an indicator. It should be observable. Explains. The students illustrate. The student apply. You will be able to see whether they are applying it. They apply it, isn't it? They are summarizing it. All these things are observable verbs. Use that. So now a comparison, isn't it? The students understand democracy. I will not be able to see what the students are capable of doing by this outcome. Suppose if I say describe major theories of democracy, I'll be able to check out whether they are able to describe it. The outcomes should be clearly stated what the students are capable of doing. The students are able to describe. The students will study about the impact of cultural diversity. Okay, they will study. But can you observe what they're capable of doing? Here, evaluate the impact of cultural diversity on nursing care. If they're able to evaluate, this is what they're able to do. The outcome should be phrased in such a way that it clearly states what the students are capable of doing. That is why in an outcome-based education, in the first statement, they're able to know and able to do. What they are able to know about nursing care, what they're able to do, evaluate. Both of them should be integrated together. First slide, what I've shown, both in terms of what they're able to know and able to do. The outcome should be depicted in that way. The students will learn about the principles, learn It is not clear. It is vague. So while learning, what they're able to do, explain the principles of drug formulation and delivery system, whether they are able to clearly state it. That is how the outcome should be written. So you have to check whether you are writing the outcome in that way. So this is a quality check of the outcome. Are they written using an action verb to specify definite and observable behavior? What I have presented in the previous slide. By reading the outcome, whether it clearly depicts what the students are capable of doing, whether it is there. Does the language describe the student's target rather than the teacher's behavior? The outcome should be written from the point of view of the students. The students first. How do the students learn? Do the outcome clearly describe the abilities, knowledge, and the values of the students of the course? What is that? The outcome has got two components, one work component and the other learning statement. Whether the outcome has very critically written the learning component, describe the ability or the knowledge part, learning part, or the values the students, then is it possible to collect accurate and reliable data for the outcome? This is something very important, isn't it? While writing the outcome, you have to check whether you are able to collect accurate and reliable data, isn't it? Whether you are able to identify, because how will you know whether the outcome is met? You want to check whether the outcome is met. So whether there is any mechanisms or way in which you are able to identify whether the outcome and the level of the students are going together, whether there is gap that should be identified, whether there is any mechanism to identify that. If all these four principles are okay, then your outcome is a good outcome. So these are some of the sample outcomes. Apply, that means third level. What? Law of physics, that means Hooke's law, to compute different types of responses in a given material. So learning part and this work part is very beautifully explained. That is second level, the various principles of organizations. So you are in a commerce class, you're going to teach principles of organizations. It's the initial level, you want to conceptually enhance them. So you want the students to explain first, isn't it? Then select advertisements and interpret the advertising objectives, isn't it? So evaluate the safety and efficacy of drug classes. Evaluate, fifth level. So all you should understand about the safety, the protocols, the drug, all these things should be, and they should be at a level to evaluate. So this is how you have done it. So there is a small, what you could say, task related to this, which is given in the your LMS. The task is nothing but this is what is showcased. This is given there, the task of the second day. Here, you can write the outcome like this. You can select the topic, your course name. So, introduction to computers. You can write the outcome here, outcome one. Outcome one, I'm not, and here there is a quality check, whether it is yes or no, no, whether it is yes or no, yes. Are they written, the criteria, I've given it in the side, box is there. Are they written using the action verbs? Okay, the action verbs, if it is okay, observable and measurable, you can put it as observable, measurable, S, observable, measurable, S. Okay, is it possible to collect accurate this? It's okay. So outcome one, it is automated. Outcome will be coming here. It is a good outcome. Suppose if something is not appropriate, we are not able to get the correct observations regarding that, it will be no. Then definitely it is not a good outcome, because the fourth criteria is not satisfied. So you have to modify that outcome considering the fourth criteria. So this is just a quality check of an outcome. This is available in your Excel, in your LMS, so you can work with that. So that will be a practice for you to identify whether the outcome is good or not. So that is all with respect to our segment. Okay, I think it is correct. We missed 2 or 3 minutes in between. So that is regarding the presentation part. I'm going to stop this sharing, and if you have any doubt, you can put it in chat. Sujan will take up, and I will answer to Sujan's opinions. Sujan, over to you.
If you have any questions, you can put it in the chat and we'll pick it up. Please note that tomorrow we have a session on practical insights into OBE, a Canadian perspective on implementation by Dr. Thomas Verghese. This will not be an online session. We have a recorded session of this in the LMS. So please access the LMS to get this.
There is one question which I've seen here, Sujan. I'm taking that. How to measure PeO2? Actually, I've given some dummy outcomes. One related to their what you could say employability. I shall put the chat. Because now I'm not sharing the screen. Okay, I was trying to put. Okay. Okay, one related to this environment, this career and higher educations, and the second are related to the employment sustainability. All these things are there. So actually, in the PEO is been formulated in order to get a clear-cut and valid program outcomes. And in an outcome-based educations, we are not directly measuring PEO. We are measuring program outcomes and program specific outcomes first. And PEO could be collected only from the real-time experiences that we get from the feedback from the students, how they are going. That is, suppose if it is PEO1, we can get opinion from these stakeholders about how they are progressing well in their field. Regarding the environment sustainability and all, what we could get is that we should get the feedback from this only through some survey, indirect surveys that we could get feedback from the students who have passed out through alumni meetings, etc. How they are able to keep up with something which has been showcased in PEO2 regarding this society, about the social accountability, all these things. So PEO cannot be directly computed from PO. That is connected from the impact only. The PO is been collected from the impact assessments only. What is the impact that the students create in the workspace, in the society? That should be collected only from through some feedback from the society, how they are progressing well, how they are progressing well in their workspace, how they are progressing well in the society. That is the impact assessments. For impact assessments, if you want to do it correctly, we have to identify this KPIs. We have to identify what are the key performance indicators that will be able to identify such and such impact. And on the basis of the KPI only, we will be able to identify from real-time responses, from feedbacks from the students who are passed, or from the society on how well the students are progressing. Only through the word of mouth, through the interview, from the opinions only we can collect. There is no structured format for collecting this what you could say this feedback from these end products. We have to identify it from our own side. That's what how to measure PEO. So my answer is we are not directly measuring PEO. immediately after they are leaving, because PO is yet to happen, which is futuristic. Only when the students go and work with the society, we'll be able to identify how they are performing well. So what is the impact that they're able to bring in the society? That should be collected from the society as well as the workspaces in the form of their opinion. So that is only how we are able to identify it. So if you are getting such feedbacks, that is, we will not be getting feedbacks for entire students. So as a representative, we can get some opinion whether the students are progressing well in the society, what is the societal opinion regarding how they're performing well from their observations, from the remarks that we get. All these things should be filtered out for assessing. So that is it. I think it is answered. How can we take the action verb as measurable in CO1? How can we take the action verb as measurable? Because action, why we are putting the action verb is that the action verb will, if you're taking it from Bloom's taxonomy, if you're taking the action verb from Bloom's taxonomy, that will very clearly say that what the students will be capable of doing at the specific level of learning. So actually the action verb itself, the CO itself will be in the form of a question. So here what they're saying is that how can we take the action verb as measurable? Because suppose if I am taking the action verb as, the students will be able to apply the knowledge in some relevant situation. So what you can check, whether they are able to apply it, how well they are able to apply it. So if they are able to apply it in a very good way, then it is measurable in a higher level. If they are not able to apply it, that means they are not able to apply it, means that you are measuring it as under target. If they are very well able to apply it, then they are able to measure it as above target. So it is observable, because action verb alone will able to make it measurable and observable. That is why we don't go for generic action verbs for lower order outcomes. Take it from these measurable action verbs.
Please note, everybody, tomorrow we do not have an online session, but we have the recording of the session on practical insights into OBE, a Canadian perspective on implementation by Dr. Thomas Verghese. Okay, that recording is there in the LMS, so you can access it from the LMS. Tomorrow we will not be having an or online session.
So how can we fix the competency indicators of any course? Actually, what I have said in the initial cases, the competency, the graduate attributes are identified from the college level through the program education objectives, and they will be showcasing it in the form of functional forms in outcome level. And from the course level, it will be written in terms of the learning statements. The learning statements which is relevant with respect to the particular outcomes, isn't it? So in that learning statements, it can be understanding. Probably the competencies will be in the form of in the line of the Bloom's taxonomy level. Isn't it? The competency could be listed in that way. Whether they are able to apply it, whether they have to analyze it, whether they have to evaluate it. So in writing outcomes, mostly we will be writing it connected to going very closer to Bloom's taxonomy and formulating the learning statements or these CUs in that particular way. So I think that's all. Probably in the this LMS also there is a doubt clearer section, so you can post any doubt while you are going through that LMS. Probably or all of we can go through that and we can comment on that. So only through collaborations we can have active learning. So I think if there is no more questions, we can conclude. Thank you and have a very pleasant evening. Sajid, over to you.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Dr. Sunil sir. We will, I think, conclude for today. Don't forget to fill the feedback form. That's also available in the
Okay.
LMS. I will just share it.
So good night. Have a pleasant evening.
Yeah. Yeah, please don't forget to fill the feedback form. And also all this content is there in the LMS. So please access the LMS to get the recording of this session. Tomorrow, we will not be having an online session. It will be a recorded session, which will be available in the LMS. And the topic is going to be practical insights into OBE. All right, everybody. Thank you for attending this session. We will see you on Monday at 7 p.m. Thank you and have a pleasant